Okay, there's some uh, webcam problems. Looks like this is now live. Well, phone's going bonkers. Just working on a preliminary sketch on a Wolverine piece. Just getting the pencils sorted out with the light source and whatnot. This will be a quick stream. And just while I work on this piece, or this part of the piece. So this is just the straightforward pencils on a comic book board. It will probably end up as a sketch card. And my phone's just going bonkers. So what I'm trying to do with this prelim is get as much of the lighting sorted out here. Then when I take this into Photoshop and scale it down, adjust the levels and whatnot before I transfer it to the final sketch card, all the lighting elements, all the shadows, everything should be nicely defined. So I can just do a clean transfer, some quick pencil toning, and then dig right into paint. Kind of the ongoing struggle that I have to find a faster process. While maintaining a certain level of quality, I guess. And being that these are rough pencils, I'm not worried about blending as much as just defining edges and just overall shapes. So where the shadows, like the core shadows are going to, shadows, not shatters, the core shadows are going to be. And the core highlights. And at the same time, one thing that I've been trying to be a lot more conscious of lately is the overall silhouette. So the silhouette is just the general shape that the character creates in the composition. So what I'll do as I'm going through it, I'm going to really outline the edge, as you can see. Yes, hey Brandon, it's just because he's Canadian with an Australian accent. What are you up to this fine Friday afternoon or evening or morning, depending where you are in the world? Canada proud. Or Canada proud, some people would say. Okay. And my focus is all messed up again. Okay, let's assume that that's okay. For now, anyways. So one thing that I always struggle with when I do Wolverine on the painted stage is getting the sharp edges around the claws. Because the claws end up being so small at 2.5 by, by 2.5 by 3.5 size that to really get a nice crisp edge there is challenging. So I don't know how I'm gonna handle it. I don't like to go over and like jelly roller or like on those white pens because the texture and the surface of the pen is different than paint, and it just like looks like I went over it in a marker or a pen. I don't really like that effect, so try to make his claws a little bit bigger, more defined. So hopefully when I transfer it, I'll be able to maintain the edge or the crispness of the claws. We'll see what happens. Wow, my phone just will not stop dinging tonight. I think I'll probably end up putting him on a really dark background to really make him pop. Oh, geez, you're up in Alaska this week? Hopefully you're back home by the holidays. How cold is it where you are now? It's going to go off canvas, so that's fine. Hey, Tina. Yeah, -8 heat wave. Yeah, I hear that. And it's still not prime winter season up there, right? It's gonna get worse. Um, yeah, December, January is the coldest, and then snow in February. Yeah, that sounds about right. Same thing down the Toronto area. It's not that. Actually, no, it gets colder in January usually, but weather's been a little weird this year. I'm sure global warming has some impact on it. Yeah, but quite the temperature difference between Alaska and Arizona, I bet. Remember, 2 years ago, I went down to LA in late January, early February, and I left here. There was about a foot of snow in my place, so I was in had like my big poofy winter jacket, mittens, gloves, scarves, the whole thing, the whole shebang. And I'm going to LA and like mid 20 Celsius daily. So I left all my boots and everything. I left it all in the trunk of the car at the airport. Changed in the car. Put on jeans, a t-shirt, and a little sweater because it was still the light sweater because it was still cold in the garage. Got to LA. It was all rainbows and kittens. And then when it was time, so that was like Sunday, and then I was flying back on Thursday, and it was a massive snowstorm up here. My flight got delayed 11 hours. I came back to like a foot of fresh snow, like minus 15-degree weather. Then my car wouldn't start because my battery died. So I called. They have like AAA or roadside assistance at the airport for, I guess, this exact reason. So I called them over to give me a boost to get the car started. I waited for half an hour for that. They finally came. I was like, okay, cool. Started the car, warmed it up, started driving, went to the barrier to pay. For some reason, everything was frozen, so I couldn't use the automated barrier credit card processing machine. So I was like, okay, no problem. There's a sheltered one. I go turn off the car and go pay. Well, sure enough, my battery's dead. So call this roadside assistance guys again, like, hey, me again. I turned off the car. I'm at the barrier now. And they came and boosted me again. The hell were you thinking? I said, leave me alone. Just spent almost a full day at LAX because of this damn snowstorm. They're really like, they kind of made fun of me a little bit, but they're really good about it. They didn't charge me. Just get me the hell out of there. I did just spend like $230 on parking. So I guess that's the least they could do is give me a boost. So I can get the hell out of there. So the card that this is going on, it's on an AP, so there's stuff down here. So I'm not too worried about the bottom of his waist. Maybe I will kind of block in a belt. So I have it. Okay, so I need the spacing. Well, chances are none of this is going to actually end up on the final card. Not like that edge. Let's give it a crisper helmet. then this all needs to be really dark. It's all going to be in shadow. Now look up where the markings are. Second. Wolverine, not the animal. Um, Except two things I could do here. I'm gonna go with the animated series version, which is to believe this look. I'm looking up at the right reference. The weird metal shoulder pads, and then so I believe if I'm doing this right. There's three. He's got black triangles here. Then these weird ones like that. And the red belt with the X in case I need it. So that's the costume I'm going with. Is there anything else in this? Oh, the gloves, but that really doesn't matter. Thanks, Jamie. That's just a costume study. That's a piece. I'll save that. I'll go with my prelim stash. So I need to. So it's got the shoulder thing. So something there. Something there. But if this is going to be black, not going to see the tip of the triangle because it's behind the claw. But I do want to make sure that I hint at it to make sure that it does look like it's going over. This piece is going to be really highlighted because it's metal. Going to have a nice hard edge right there going to the end. Should mimic it here as well. And then he's got all these black triangles. One going this way, and the ab. Seeing how this is all going to be black, probably won't end up seeing much of it, except maybe on the rim light here. And there's another one up here somewhere. Hey, Celeste, what's going on? Oh, okay. Just making food. Yeah, I'll be doing that soon. I gotta wrap this up in the next 10 minutes because I want to get my ass home in time to catch Sean and Rodney over on, what's today? Friday. So Friday night draw or something along those lines. If you're watching me and you're not familiar who they are, check out, look for Rodney Fike, or actually, you know what? Maybe Tina's still watching. Tina, if you're still watching, you can drop the Sean and Rodney's thing in the comments. Dude's talking comics, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Not much left on the stream today. But yeah, let's actually get this straight. Yeah, this is gonna be an AP. It's gonna go on an upper deck. Can't say which one to protect the names of the innocent. But yeah, this is about 1.5 the size of a sketch card. That's why I do my prelims. I used to do them twice the size, but that's really just a waste. But just enough, just big enough. Like if you look at this is the size of a sketch card. It's not going on a masterpieces, but that's the actual size of a sketch card. So this is at 1.5 the size roughly. And what I'm going to do is once I finish roughing up, I'm finished roughing off the sketch, which looks like I'm almost there. Just make sure I have my hard edges defined, namely the claws and the silhouette. Take them to Photoshop, scale it down to sketch card size, and then do a carbon transfer onto the card without having to do any sketch lines on the actual card, because I'm just going to transfer the lines that matter. And then I should have nice clean pencils on the final card for me to just start painting. And if you're watching this and you're an artist and you don't own a set of French curves, which is what this is, they come in a set of 3 usually at different sizes. There's the other 2. About $20 for the set. Maybe even cheaper to get like the Michaels brand. And they're all the same shape. The only thing is just the thickness of the plastic, so it's the durability. Like I've had these orange ones since college, so a good 20 years. I have some like a Michael set at home too. Like I said, the curves are all the same. The shapes are all the same. It's just not as thick, so it chips easier. But it's not a big investment. So can Photoshop do what, Sir Lester? Scaling? I think I need to refine some more of the face. No, Brandon, I don't have, as it sits right now, I don't have any MM20 APs left. I might. This is not an MM AP. This is going on something else. That one just happens to be here because I need to work on an MM AP as well. I do have your name on my list, I'm pretty sure, but I'm about to get slammed hard at the end of the month. So I got 4, maybe 5 commissions that I'll be able to finish, like APs that I'll be able to finish before the end of the month, and then I'm going to have to put everything on hold. So I'm sure some people that are on the waiting list are going to pull out once I tell them that they're not getting anything for probably 4 or 5 months. But if you still want, well, like I said, pretty sure I have your name down on my list. I do have Premiere 19 APs, which are unspoken for, but those are going to be priced a little bit differently for reasons that I won't get into a live stream. But we can chat if you're interested. So Celeste, about Photoshop. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I don't scan things anymore. I just take a picture of my cell phone. Let me find an example. Do I have an example? Yeah, hang on a second. So, oh, I don't have the transfer sheet. So if you look at this, this is a little big. No, this is the same size. It's 1.5 size, and this is a recreation of, I can't remember the original card. Can't remember what set it's from. Maybe Fleer Ultra Spider-Man. It's a Tom Kiffin card. So there's the sketch. Oh, hey Matt. So there's the sketch in pencils. Took a picture, just stick it into Photoshop. Created a 2.5 by 3.5 canvas. Repositioned it there. Now I don't have the transfer sheet that I made for this one because I don't know what I did. I might have tossed it out. Doesn't matter. I'll show you another one. Put this away. So what I do is basically print it on, just print it on normal paper. Where's one? Oh, here. So, oh, here, this one's actually a perfect example. So there's a prelim sketch. This is for an MM sketch. That's Andy Kubert homage. So that's the pencils. Took them to Photoshop, scaled it to 2.5 by 3.5. Printed it on 8.5 by 11 paper. So here's the actual sheet. So there's the printout. I kind of squished them a little bit to make sure it gets positioned a little bit better on the paper. On the back, covered with graphite, wrapped around the card. That's why the crop marks are important. Trace it over, and then it just transfers whatever you trace over transfers over to the card. So if we go back to the Venom card, there's the original rough sketch. So I don't know where the transfer sheet is. I usually keep them, but maybe not for this one. And then there's the final painted card in really shit lighting. This has a gloss varnish on it, so it makes it impossible to photograph or showcase, which might explain why it's not really selling. Oh, I'm getting there. I gotta take this into the photo studio and get a proper shot of it. So yeah, that's where Photoshop's great for that. I mean, I know some people will do their preliminary sketches right in Photoshop. If you're comfortable using a tablet, okay, if we have a Cintiq or something like that. Yeah, I don't know, Celeste, if you're having issues to scale things, you can shoot me a message and we'll find a time. I'll do a screen share and I'll show you how to, like, the Photoshop piece. It's really straightforward. There's nothing to it. It's really just using the scale tool. Oh, that's wrong. It's kind of good to step away from a sketch sometimes because I just realized this needs to curve this way. Curve over the pack, not under it, because that just makes no sense. This is why I like working on a larger scale for the prelims. Do I do much editing in Photoshop or just use it for scaling up and down? It really depends on the piece. One that I'm working on for you right now, I didn't want to dick around trying to get the symmetry in by freehand. So without showing what it is, you can probably imagine the armor piece and the sword. I just reflected in Photoshop. I just lined it up. And it really depends on the piece and what's on it, right? Like if it's a lot of mechanical things, a lot of hard edges, maybe I'll hey, Marvel Stunts, I think that's Pat. Yeah, that's Pat. What's going on, Pat? On Twitch, I think this is the first time somebody is actually watching me on Twitch. Yeah, if there's a lot of hard edges, like if there's a building or like mechanical components, which I don't usually do, it's great in Photoshop to just make sure that the edges are clean. It's also really sweet to, a great way to check if your work, if the symmetry is there in the composition work, is to flip the image or, you know, things like this. Now, one of the reasons I like streaming while I sketch is when you look at it, at the drawing in real life, like I'm looking at right now here, there's forced perspective because, you know, the head's moving and stuff like that. But then I look at it up on screen. Hey, Rusty. I look at it on screen and it kind of gives you a different angle to look at it. So sometimes what am I doing, Spencer? Sometimes you'll catch things that you may not have seen otherwise. Like I did with the curve here on the armor. But going back to Matt's point, like that other Wolverine, I did squish him a little bit in Photoshop this way. So he'll fit better on the final card. Also, I did post a picture of what that looked like, the final piece. That, because it was heavy paint, it had the 1/8 of an inch white frame around the card. So yeah, kind of had to adjust the composition. But I'm not really redrawing anything in Photoshop. I like to make sure it's at a point that works before I take it into Photoshop because I don't really want to be painting or drawing digitally. Defeats the purposes why I'm doing this. Yeah, so I have a couple of other pieces that are on the go, but I can't show them because licensing and whatnot. And I won't be able to show this. Actually, maybe this one I'll be able to stream working on the actual card. I gotta double check. Thanks, Pat. It's a kind of a straightforward pose, but I think it really works well for Logan. Kind of like, look at my claws. Get some nice dramatic lighting and it'll be fine. So yeah, yeah, and this guy's definitely getting blacked out completely. This is the wrong pencil for that. I do have to pack it in. Yeah. Try me, bub. Yeah, Pat, I still need, when I have some time to work on something, like a house project, I need to chat with you about using some of your pics as reference, because you have some cool costumes, but also some really nice poses on some of the stuff you've posted on Instagram and maybe even Facebook. Maybe over the holidays before I get crazy busy. I have all kinds of new supplies I want to try out, and the airbrush that I bought back in May or April that's still sitting in the box. But I can't really experiment on commissions or set work, because if it goes sideways, I am, what's the word I'm looking for? Foobarred? Yeah, this is gonna work. I'll have a nice hard edge. Go dark. And this should all be dark. Where's my pencil? Where's my other pencil? Cool, man. Well, thanks for thanks for tuning in for a little bit. I will, yeah, we'll definitely chat later. Have your people call my people. We'll do lunch. There we go. Or do a virtual lunch. So, I'm sure it's no big secret, but Marvel Stunts, just chatting for a little bit. He's the he was the model for, I don't know how many, but a lot of the 2020 Marvel Masterpiece paintings that Palumbo did, including Craven, the Punishers. I think it was Wolverine as well. Yeah, he was. I remember he was in one. Definitely the one where he's up in the air slashing people. I don't know if he did the one where the claws come out towards the camera or the viewer. But anyways, I think that is it for me for today. Let's see if I miss any comments. Lucas Vieira, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Did I miss anyone? Brandon, Matt. All the APs are belong to me. Well, a lot of the APs are belong to you. Forever Alone guy, how can I up my drawing skills faster? Short answer is draw more, draw often. I've said it before on other streams. There is, in my humble opinion, there is such a thing as talent. But what talent does, again, this is my opinion, but the way I look at it, what talent does, it just speeds up the process. So think of it the same as bodybuilding. If you're going to be at the gym with proper diet and proper workout routine, 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, you're going to get ripped. You're going to build a nice physique. Certain people have a physical disposition because of genetics that, they'll build up more muscle mass faster, for example. And I think that's the same analogy that can be used for natural talent. So, somebody that's naturally talented or has a natural creative inclination will pick up faster, and, X amount of time being invested practicing is going to yield better results. But at the end of the day, it's just a numbers game, right? You're going to put in an hour a day drawing for a year, 6 months, even 3 months. I'd probably say, 3 months, you draw an hour a day every day, you're going to see significant improvements. You draw 2 hours a day every day, that's going to be exponential. And try to develop your own style as you do it. Don't copy. That's the like doing reproductions and copying other artists' work is great, and it's a great studying medium for technique. And as you draw, if you really analyze the way the forms are created and the strokes and the lines, it can reverse engineer the technique to understand how the artist ended up with that image. And a lot of times you'll understand the problem solving that the artist had to do to create that image, whether it's from a composition point of view, a color rendering, whatever it is. But it doesn't really help build your own style. All it does, it helps build technique, which is nothing wrong with. I do it a lot. I'm constantly studying other people's work, but it's practice, right? Yeah, just draw more, draw often, and ultimately just make sure you draw stuff that you like, because otherwise it's hard to get committed into it. And I said another stream about painting. The reason I took on acrylic painting is because I wanted to learn that medium, and my choices were either self-taught, which is just practice till you get the effect and the look that you want, or take a painting class. And then the only painting classes I can take are like still life or outdoors or things like that. And that's not fun for me. I don't want to draw lamps. I don't want to draw a bucket of pears or some daisies or maple trees on the sunset. I don't really care for that. I want to draw, superheroes and mechs and sci-fi stuff. So there's no real classes where I am that will teach that. And even the online stuff is kind of limited in quality. I was just in quality in subject matter and teaching level. So I said, I'm just gonna paint until I figure it out. And I think I'm pretty close to it. I'm at a point where I figured out a good technique and a good approach. And pretty soon I'm going to give oils a try, because that's the next thing I want to get a feel for. But anyways, that was quite the rant. And I need to get home so I can make some dinner and I can watch Rodney Fike and Sean Forney do their stream at 8 o'clock Eastern. Which, you know what, let me find the link because I'll post it in the comments. And yes, long answer, math. Actually, I think that might be the short answer, Matt. Where are they? Hey, no problem, man. Like, you know, I'm nowhere near an expert, right? I didn't draw. I stopped drawing for about 12, 15 years, and then just took it back. Picked it back up a few years ago because to get me away from the computer. So I'm just gonna put I can't find the link. Facebook's being. Oh, there we go. If you guys want to check out Sean and Rodney, if you're not familiar with their work, both great artists, some beautiful work they produce. I'll drop the link to their group on Facebook. They stream Thursday and Friday at 8 o'clock. Check them out. I'll be there in the comments. And that's it. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a great weekend. I'll probably, if everything goes well, I'll probably be streaming on Sunday, working on some more preliminary work. That's it. Thanks so much. This is my Wolverine. Will be a sketch card. Have a good one.